Have you ever noticed how quiet a suburb can get at night? That perfect, almost humming silence. Streetlights buzzing, crickets chirping their endless song. It's the sound of normal life, of a world tucked safely in bed. I used to find it comforting. Now, it's the sound of a clock ticking down. It all started a week ago. Was up late, watching some old movie, when I noticed the time. 11:59 p.m. As the clock struck midnight, the hum stopped. The crickets went silent. The world just paused. I went to the window, and what I saw still haunts my waking moments and every second of my sleep. People were just lying there. In the street, a man was slumped over the steering wheel of his car, engine still running. A woman walking her dog was on the sidewalk, the leash still in her hand. They weren't sleeping. They were gone. Every night at midnight, everyone dies. And I'm the only one awake. The first night, I was in shock. I ran outside, screaming for someone, anyone, to wake up. I checked for a pulse on my neighbor, Mr. Henderson, who had been getting his mail. Nothing. His wife was inside, frozen in front of the TV. Utter, complete silence. The only sound was my own frantic heartbeat. I called 911, but the line was dead. The internet was down. My phone was just a useless piece of glass. Then, at exactly 12:01 a.m., everything snapped back. The streetlights buzzed again. The crickets started their song. Mr. Henderson waved at me from his mailbox before heading inside. The woman and her dog continued their walk. It was as if nothing had happened. They didn't remember a thing. I thought I was losing my mind. A hallucination, a waking nightmare. But then came the second night. Again, at 11:59, I held my breath. And again, at the stroke of midnight, the world fell silent. This time, it was different. It was worse. The bodies weren't just lifeless, they were twisted. My neighbor wasn't just slumped in his car. His limbs were bent at impossible angles. The woman on the sidewalk, her face was contorted in a silent scream. Blood, which wasn't there the first night, now pooled on the pristine suburban concrete. It was no longer a peaceful parsing. It was violent. It was grotesque. I spent that minute, that eternal 60 seconds, wandering through a museum of horror. I tried to document it. I used my phone to record everything, taking pictures, shooting video of the unnatural stillness, the horrifying tableaus. Wanted proof, something to show the world, to show myself I wasn't crazy. But every time the clock ticked to 12:01, my phone would reset. My gallery was empty. The videos, the pictures, all gone. It was like the world was actively erasing the evidence, leaving me alone with the truth. By the fourth night, I stopped trying to prove it. I started observing. I moved through the silent, frozen houses, a ghost in my own neighborhood. I saw families frozen at their dinner tables, children tucked in beds that had become their tombs for a single minute. The dread wasn't just about the death anymore. It was about the pattern. It was evolving. The deaths became more specific, more intentional. One night, everyone's eyes were wide open, staring at something I couldn't see. Their hands were all reaching for the sky. It felt like an experiment, and I was the only one allowed to see the results. That's when I first saw it. A flicker of movement in my peripheral vision. In a world where everything was completely still, motion was impossible. But there it was. A shadow, darker than the night around it, detaching itself from the corner of a house. There, it was vaguely human-shaped, tall and thin, but it moved with a fluidity that was utterly unnatural. It glided over lawns and through walls, its form rippling like heat haze. It wasn't just moving, it was watching. I saw it lean over the body of a teenager, frozen mid-laugh in his driveway. The shadow seemed to steady him, its head tilting in a gesture of curiosity. It was learning who was the artist, and this nightly massacre was its canvas. The twisted bodies, the silent screams, the pooling blood that was its work. It was refining its technique, night after night. I realized with a chilling certainty that the deaths weren't random. This entity was causing them. It was playing with them. With us. And it knew I was there. It knew I was watching. I could feel its awareness of me, a cold pressure in the back of my mind. It never looked directly at me, but I knew. I was part of the experiment too. The control group. Last night, it changed the rules. As I hid behind a hedge, watching it move through the quiet carnage, it stopped. It was standing in the middle of the street, directly under a flickering streetlight. For the first time, it turned its head slowly, deliberately, in my direction. There was no face, no features, just a deep void in the darkness. But I knew it was looking right at me. It didn't move towards me. It just watched. And in that moment, I understood. The world didn't just stop. Something was holding it together. Preventing it from completely falling apart during that terrible minute. And that something was me. My consciousness, my awareness, was the anchor. As long as someone was awake to witness it, the world could reset at 12:01. The silence was broken by a sound that was UNT from my world. A low, whispering scrape, like dry leaves on stone, but it was coming from the shadow. It was speaking, not with a voice, but directly into my mind. The words were ancient and cold. Someone must watch. Someone must hold the pieces. The shadow took a step towards me. Then another. I was paralyzed, not by fear, but by an overwhelming sense of fatigue. A weariness that seeped into my bones. With every step it took, I felt weaker, my energy draining away as if it would be siphoned. I realized what was happening. It was my turn. The entity wasn't here to kill me. It was here to relieve me of my duty. My time as the anchor was ending. I could feel my eyelids getting heavy, my thoughts slowing down. The world around me started to blur, the edges of the frozen houses softening. The shadow was right in front of me now, its cold presence a blanket of exhaustion. It reached out a long, thin arm. My purpose was served. I had kept the world safe for a week. Now, it was someone else's turn. The clock struck 12:01. The world snapped back to life. The hum, the crickets, the sound of a distant car. Everything was normal. Everything was safe. In a bedroom, miles away, a young woman's eyes snap open. She glances at her clock. It reads 11:59 p.m. She is alone. And she is awake.